Brad is live in Indianapolis for the Final Four. He's on Radio Row. Mike LaTulip just popped by here last segment. And so we're going to get deeper into these games now. Mike, it covers the Illinois Fighting Illini for the Illini Inquirer. He also covers college hoops for the Field of 68. And he is a former guard for Wright State and for the ILL. Which of these, which on-court matchup, and you can just say which either game or a matchup within one of these two matchups, which are you most excited to watch on Saturday? What do you think has nation's attention come Saturday night?
The one that I do think will have the nation's attention is Keaton Wagler and Silas Demery. I think that's the one for game one. The second one that I'm not sure will have the nation's attention now, but could potentially during the game, is Ivan Karchenkov and Yaxel Lendeberg. I think that is a matchup with Karchenkov's size at 6'8" and how good of a defender he is. He's physical. And Yaxel Lendeberg is the best connector in college basketball. So if he can disrupt Lendeberg enough in that game, I think that bodes well for Arizona.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I like that one a lot. I'll throw my 2 cents in real quick. I'm not going to, I know I'm dressed in orange and blue. I won't talk Illinois and UConn, but I like big men. And you got 2 outstanding, large, meaty human beings in Mara and Mount Krivas going toe-to-toe. That's going to be an outstanding matchup in the Battle of the Post.
And who can stay out of foul trouble? I mean, both
Right.
those players are such key cogs for their teams, and especially defensively. When Mara's on the floor defensively, just kind of being in that drop coverage, air traffic control, he's phenomenal. And Krivas, they really run the same ball screen coverage, so they keep everything in front. And Mara allows those other 4 guys on the floor to switch everything, because if they get beat, you got the ultimate anchor in the back. Same thing with Krivas. So those 2 guys specifically, I mean, they're so skilled. I think they should both be first-round picks this year. There's going to be a lot, and I mean a lot, of NBA talent on the floor on Saturday night.
Yep, totally agree.
You guys literally stole both of my answers. My first one was going to be Karchenkov against Lendeborg. The second one was going to be the big men, Krivas and Ade Mara. So I'll give you a third one here. And I guess, Mike, you could probably speak to this with more knowledge, but who's going to be following Alex Karaban around from Illinois? Because he is going to be off-ball screens, looking to get those catch-and-shoot opportunities. So is that going to be a team effort, fighting through all the screens that UConn's going to be setting for him? Or do you think there will be one specific player or 2 specific players that are assigned to the task of making sure they stop Alex Karaban, the most maybe decorated player, active player right now in college basketball?
Well, that's where it all starts, I think, for Illinois defensively. I think when you're guarding Karaban, your job is just never done, because they run a lot of what I would call false action to set up the real action. And usually Karaban's involved in a lot of that because of the gravity of his shooting ability. And he's also a heady cutter, slipper to the basket. So David Mirkovic had that assignment back in November. David Mirkovic has come a long way defensively since that game. I think you worried about him early in the year at 6'9", 250, chasing a guy like Alex Karaban around screens. But I think there's going to be multiple guys that get a shot at him. I think certainly Mirkovic is going to be on him a little bit. I think Stojakovic is going to be on him a little bit. We have a little bit more of that speed, and certainly Stojakovic has some of that length too. I think Ben Humrickhouse could get a shot at him too. You touched on it, Pat. Like it's a team effort when you're guarding Karaban, because what he does off ball, it sets up the duck-ins, the post entry passes to Terrace Reed, and then everybody's spread out outside of their help zones, and Reed's going to work, and that all stems from the movement from Karaban.
How about Brad saying he loves big men, big meaty men? I think to quote him directly there. So
that is correct. And by the way, LaTulip just had an all-timer. False action leading to real action. That is in my back pocket.
Let's talk about a side factor, or I mean, if it even will be a factor in the Arizona-Michigan game on Saturday night. Mike, you've been around, the college basketball royalty here and the folks that are as close to the situation as any. The rumors of North Carolina maybe going after Tommy Lloyd after this Final Four weekend here and trying to make him their next head coach. Do those rumors, do you think that has become a distraction in any sense, whether Tommy Lloyd or Arizona is going to admit it or not? Do you think that's in the back of his mind or any of the Arizona players' minds?
I think those guys do a good job of compartmentalizing that stuff. I think there's a reason why that job isn't filled yet. It's North Carolina, and it's still open.
Right.
And so whether you look at Billy Donovan or you look at Tommy Lloyd or you look at Dusty May, it feels like they're waiting on someone, and that someone might still be playing. And I think those types of situations, Kevin Willard was kind of in this situation last year with Maryland, eventually going to Villanova. A lot of those guys, they can say that they aren't talking, they aren't distracted by it. It's because they have representation. Like there are potential conversations going on to push things forward right now, probably here at the Final Four.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean Tommy Lloyd's involved in them. If you're Tommy Lloyd, are you maybe thinking about what if? He certainly hears the noise. But I think these guys are so good at compartmentalizing that, being able to say there's enough distractions as it is down here in Indy and at the Final Four in general. And you just got to try to not let the game be secondary, because it's very easy for that with all that's going on down here.
Yeah, I would say this, Pat, based on the conversations I've had with people that are somewhat in the know, if I would have placed a percentage chance of Tommy Lloyd leaving after this season, whatever the finish is for Arizona, maybe they leave on, out on top. He has a last big bang there in Tucson. I think it's like 60% likelihood, honestly, that he's going to make the jump from the left coast to the right coast, and he will be the next head coach in North Carolina. And of course, that will create a domino effect. Who would be the next man up for Arizona? Oh, I got
Steve
it
Kerr.
for you.
Steve Kerr.
Josh Pastner.
Yeah, he could. Yeah. Manager, right?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Head coach of UNLV right now.
The other thing too is, how does that calculus change if they lose Saturday, if they lose Monday, or if they win Monday?
You mean when Illinois wins the title? Is that what you're telling me?
I mean, I'm just saying, if Tommy Lloyd loses on Saturday, does that make you more likely to take that job if it's offered to you? Or if you win on Monday and you cut down the nets, is it a situation where you're like, I've hit the pinnacle here,
Right,
and I go elsewhere? Or is it a situation where you're like, how can I leave after I just won a title here? I don't know. I don't know what that would be. Probably a person-to-person thing.
I think it's already done. I think it's done.
The ink is...
Yeah, well, I mean,
it's not dry, but
no, it's not dry because the ink hasn't been applied.
Right.
But there is a verbal agreement of like,
the pen is
I'll be your boy.
I'll be your boy.
Oh, it's hovering. Yes. It's hovering. Yes.
Yeah.
Dawser's pen is hovering right now on our check later tonight at the bar.
Yes.
Continue, Pat.
You mentioned Steve Kerr, Mike. Is that was that a joke or is that serious? Because I see this to call it's not a dynasty anymore, but the Warriors they're at the end of the line. Like, they're talking about Draymond Green future in the summer unknown. Steph Curry, it's been a tough season for him, just trying to stay healthy. Who knows if he really wants to finish his career with Golden State, but either way, Steve Kerr going back to Tucson to go to his alma mater, do you actually think that there's any chance that happens?
I don't know if I'm alone in this. I was actually laying in bed the other night, and that came to my mind. I was thinking of Steve Kerr in bed, and it makes you think, doesn't it? I mean, there's a lot when you look at a lot of the guys that have had success. I know Kerr hasn't coached in college, but was in a front office, was in media for a little bit, did the Warriors thing, and college basketball was a lot more like the NBA than it was when he played in it. Certainly, and I don't know. I mean, you got the Arizona ties. And just the end of that era. I think when Steph's done, he's done, and Steph's my favorite player of all time. So I'm hoping that he's got the knee injury.
Your jumper
right now.
mirrors Steph's, just
very much so.
Yes,
and so I hope that's not imminent, but it does. Pat, it makes you think, right? I mean, it's not crazy, is what I'm saying.
No, I don't think it's crazy at all. I definitely don't think it is crazy whatsoever. That would be awesome. Obviously, if we get Michigan-Illinois championship game Monday night, we know that the 25-year drought will be over, but that's the big topic here. 2 Big Ten teams in the Final Four. A Big Ten team hasn't won the title since 2001. Can the Big Ten shake off the ghosts and finally win a natty? Is that in the back of the minds of the players or the coaches? And do you think it would be better if we got an all Big Ten title game on Monday night? Or do you think it's, I guess there's also a chance that the drought continues if both of them lose. But either way, Mike, that drought continuing here, potentially, that would be tough for the Big Ten when they've had such an incredible year.
I want the drought to end so bad.
We all do.
I do. I'm tired. I'm tired of hearing about it.
Yeah.
I'm tired of it being a talking point. And it's just, how close has the Big Ten been? I mean, I think you go back to 05 with
too soon.
with
Still
D
too
and
soon.
with Darren and with Luther. And then, you fast forward to Michigan State dropping it to North Carolina in 2009. And then I think the next one was Michigan in 2013, where you get the Trey Burke block. It felt like it was all set up, and Luke Hancock goes nuts. Did the ball tip off of Justice Winslow's finger in the Wisconsin game? I think that Wisconsin team deserved to win that title. Obviously, Duke beat them twice that year. Michigan got waxed by Villanova in 2018. And so they've just, some of these teams have been close. I would love for it to be two Big Ten teams so that we know no matter what.
It's indisputable.
Yeah, so that no matter what, we're getting one. That would be the perfect world for a Big Ten fan like myself. But you got to get there first.
Let's be honest. We're selfish bastards. We love the Big Ten.
If it's UConn, Michigan in the championship game, you guys will be rooting for Michigan, no questions asked?
Yes.
Yeah, and I'll take it a step further, because I think the reason why this happens, as I'm sitting here with my Illinois alumni cap on, the reason why I root for the Big Ten is like, you want to be able to tell everybody, like, man, look at the Big Ten. I told you they were good this year. Look what they did in the tournament. And I think it's the same thing where the NCAA tournament, it always feels like it either confirms what you believed in,
confirms bias,
or it confirms bias either way. I'm going to use it for personal Big Ten gain and say, we got, was it 5 teams in the Sweet 6 teams in the Sweet 16? What was the best conference in college basketball?
Big Ten.
Yeah.
Ballin'.
Unless Arizona wins the title, and then you could say the Big 12 was the best conference all year.
And then it was Big 12. Yeah. Well, that's why we need two Big Ten teams in the title game.
Yeah.
All right, so how does Michigan get this done? Because we know that they like to run. Arizona, they can play up tempo, but Michigan definitely, they want to get stops. They want to turn people over and get in transition and run. So do you think this is a clash of tempos here between Arizona and Michigan, Mike? Like, is Arizona going to want to slow this thing down, or do you think they'll be perfectly fine with playing with Michigan, who does run at a bit more of an up-tempo pace than they do?
No, I mean, offensively, they both, they both get out. And I think that's where, when you look at the points in the paint, I think that's where my eyes first go in this, where, Michigan 2 times this year, they've given up over 40 plus paint points to a team. Arizona averages 42. So at some point, it's like something's got to give in that department. But when you think of points in the paint, it's not just, hey, they're throwing the ball into Krivas and Pete, and that's their paint touch, and they're scoring in the post. It's everything. It's transition, especially for Arizona. It's the way that they, their bigs, when you see their 2 bigs on the floor together, and I'm telling you, watch this in the semifinal game. It's amazing what they do. When it's Bradley or Burries or any of these guys driving the basketball, there is always one big that is occupying somebody down there. Even if a big gets a catch in the post, there's a big down there with them to occupy that guy, to not be able to help over, and to not be able to, because they know if they help over, there's offensive rebounds, because you're leaving Awaka, you're leaving Pete, you're leaving these guys on the glass. So
and they're big.
That's how they get you. And they get to the free throw line a ton. If you're Michigan, you got to keep them off the free throw line, which starts from being in position defensively, transition defense. And I think if you're Michigan, you cannot turn the ball over and let Arizona win the possession game. Because if Arizona wins the boards and they win the turnover margin, that will help them, because they don't shoot a ton of threes. But contrastingly, if Arizona loses the turnover margin and Arizona loses the boards, and Michigan makes 11 threes to Arizona's 5, you'll probably see Michigan advance into Monday.
That's the other thing. If there's a team that can't afford to get down by 15 points, is it Arizona, because they simply don't shoot a ton of threes? They haven't been forced into shooting threes. So if they get down 15 and they kind of have to start shooting threes and get out of their game plan, do you think that's worst case scenario? If Michigan goes up by 15, would you and it's like 18 minutes to go, would you be willing to say game over?
I don't think so, only because
they can hit threes.
They shoot a good percentage. They don't shoot a ton of them. And I don't think it's like we're trying to avoid the 3-point line thing. They just get so much work. They shoot 35 shots a game. 35 shots a game from at the rim and in the paint. 60% of their points are in the paint and at the rim. And so they know where their bread's buttered. And I think the one area where I think we always think about threes to get back into a game when a team's down, but the free throw line, stop the clock, get the team in the double bonus, get to the line, chip away, score when the clock stopped. That stuff I think factors in too. I think, and this is a somewhat of a prediction I have for this game, we'll see if it pans out. I think the Illinois-UConn game will be close. I think the Arizona-Michigan game, it would not shock me either way if one of those teams wins by 8 to 10 points because of the variance. Like these teams, their top end is so high. It's their top end, Arizona, Michigan, is better than anybody's in college basketball. And so do one of those flurries happen for either team in a second half? Because these two teams are second half teams, and they're second half teams because they win the shot quality battle. And over 40 minutes, that wears you down. And so I just wonder if there's a flurry from Arizona or a flurry from Michigan. This game has more blow it open potential than I actually think Illinois UConn does.
Really?
Yes, it does. Just because the firepower for both Michigan and
higher
Arizona.
possession too.
Higher possession, more variability.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think the Illinois UConn game will be closer, but who knows? It's the Final Four.
Illinois by 50.
That would be nice.
I got one more for you, Mike. What do you think is the biggest advantage in the Illinois UConn game? Is it Illinois' length? Is it UConn's front court? Is it the guard play of either team? What do you think is the biggest strength? If we're going tail the tape here, which has the biggest check mark next to it in terms of UConn versus Illinois?
I think and it's been this way a lot for Illinois this year. Their offense, they have so many options. I think we've seen throughout the year that even when Keaton Wagler struggled a little bit, they've still found ways for Stojakovic to be a complementary piece for Thomas Slavovicic is Thomas Slavovicic again. And so that's been huge. Mirkovic can score it. They just have a number of guys on this team from an offensive weapon standpoint that I think outweighs UConn. That said, this UConn defense, they're physical. They're really physical. And so that's going to be one of the tougher challenges for Keaton Wagler. Even though they played UConn earlier this year, how many times have we seen a situation where a 25-point scorer for Illinois and Kylan Boswell, who can also score it, a 25-point scorer in Kylan Boswell, Silas Demery will not be getting that assignment. He'll be getting the assignment on the guy that scored 3 in the last game. It's wild. You just don't see it that often. And I think so. There's an avenue, I think, for Kylan as well in this game to potentially be a guy with the way he puts pressure on the rim. He's not going to draw the best defensive assignment. I just think they've just shown all year it's why they're the number one offense in the country. They've just shown an ability to, no matter what you throw at them, to have an answer. And they seem to always have the answers to the test. So that's the biggest clash, is this Illinois offense versus this UConn defense.
A+.